myths and legends. The mysterious nature of this region is truly what makes it the most unique autonomous community of Spain. Today I'm going to be taking you on a journey through this autonomous region of Spain, highlighting only a few of its amazing features. In case you didn't already know, Spain is made up of 17 autonomous communities which were established as a provision of the Constitution of Spain, adopted in 1978. Some of the most popular autonomous communities include Andalusia, Catalonia, and the Community of Madrid. However, the region I'm talking to you about is País Vasco, also referred to as the Basque Country in English. The Basque Country is located in the north of Spain and its capital is Vitoria-Gasteiz. This region shares its borders with Cantabria in the province of Burgos in the west, the Cantabrian Sea in the north, France and Navarra in the east, and La Rioja, also known as the Ebro River, in the south. It is made up of 3 provinces, Álava, Guipúzcoa, and Vizcaya. It has an area of around 7,000 kilometers and registers over 2 million inhabitants, giving it a quite high population density. The flag of the country itself has a lot of significance. Historically, the flag of Basque was red. When Sabino Arana created the flag, he wanted to give the meaning Basque independence and God. The red color of the field means Basque, and the green St. Andrew's cross means the independence of the Basque country because it symbolizes the oak tree of Guernica, which is a symbol of Basque freedom. The Basque country is located in the southwest of Europe, lying between rivers Aturi to the north and the Ebro to the south. It can be divided into the 2 great watersheds, the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. The mountain chains of the Pyrenees, Aralar, and Gorbilla form a dividing line between the 2. Additionally, climatic variation in turn gives rise to significant differences in scenery, mountains, valleys, plains, and so on. As far as Basque history goes, much of it is largely undefined. Due to similarities in place names and personal names, the Basques may be related to people called the Vascones that lived in northern Spain, from which the Basques got their name from. The Romans had little interest in conquering Basque territory due to the mountainous, somewhat non-fertile landscape. In fact, due to the terrain of the Pyrenees, the Basques were never defeated by any of its invaders. Finally, when Castilian or Spanish forces finally conquered the Basque territory in the 1500s, the Basques were for the first time given a great amount of autonomy. However, very soon after Spain and France began to pressure the Basques to assimilate, they lost some of their rights during the Carlist Wars of the 19th century. Basque nationalism also became particularly intense during this period. The Spanish Civil War also played a big impact on Basque culture as it greatly suffered in the 1930s. Francisco Franco and his fascist party wanted to rid Spain of all who were different, and the Basque people were specifically targeted. Franco banned the speaking of Basque, which resulted in the Basques losing all political autonomy and economic rights. Some Basques were even imprisoned or killed. However, when Franco died in 1975, the Basques received much of their autonomy again, but this did not satisfy all Basques. There are approximately 18 million people of Basque descent around the world. Many people in New Brunswick and Newfoundland, Canada, are descended from Basque fishermen and whalers. Many prominent Basque clergymen and government officials were sent to the New World. Today, about 8 million people in Argentina, Chile, and Mexico trace their roots to the Basques, who immigrated to work as sheep herders, farmers, and miners. There are even about 60,000 people of Basque ancestry in the United States. Many reside in Boise, Idaho, and in other places in the American West. Fun fact, the University of Nevada at Reno still maintains a Basque Studies department. One of the main characteristics of the Basque Country is that it is a cross-border cultural region that has a distinctive culture including its own language, customs, festivals, and music. Firstly, the Basque language. It is in fact not Indo-European. Linguists have tried to connect Basque with languages spoken in North Africa and the Caucasus Mountains, but no direct links have been proven. The language Basque is written with the Latin alphabet, and the Basques call their language Euskara. It is spoken by about 650,000 people in Spain and about 130,000 people in France. Most Basque speakers are usually bilingual in either Spanish or French. The Basque region experienced a sort of resurgence after the death of Franco, and in order to get a government job in that region, one needed to know how to speak and write Basque. Literature in the Basque Country may refer to the literature made in Basque, Spanish, and French. Basque, historically the primary language of the territory at either side of current French-Spanish border, were not prone to be written until the early modern period, aside some short poems, letters, loose phrases, and notations. Stories and poems were usually transmitted down the generations by oral tradition, and the official Spanish and French languages were preferred for written books starting in the 16th century. However, the coming of the printer allowed for the first glossy Basque literary sprouts to spring up during the mid-16th century. Music in the Basque Country has evolved from its historic characteristic instruments and singing to include a whole range of musical options in line with modern European context. Popular tunes have been closely related to the Bertso tradition, a tradition of spontaneously composing music, or the tunes are often variations of a common European folk music heritage. The coming of the Enlightenment and the Royal Basque Society saw attempts of establishing an upper status music, for example, bringing more dignity to the chitsu, a kind of flute that became a symbol for the Basque folk revival. The concept of the house holds a special significance for the Basque. For example, the Generalixia is recognized in Basque culture as a long-standing tradition of inheritance of the house by the eldest child. The southern fringes of the Basque Country follow a pattern of more scattered and larger settlements. Initially, the farmsteads were all built in timber, but as of the 15th century, the ground floor started to be framed in stone, limiting timber for the upper floors. The slope of the roofs is not very steep, except in the Pyrenean valleys, where the construction of the roofs are more vertical, simply in order to better cope with snowfall. Basque sport has developed along the lines of the European countries, originating from medieval games and rural sports based on inter-community rivalry and challenges. Basque's native sports have specialized and expanded. Basque pelota and rowing races are highly popular, while traditional bowls or hole drilling have remained largely local, limited to occasional events and celebrations. Like overall in Europe, football, or soccer, caught on early in time, expanding from its main influence focus in Bilbao, after it was imported by English iron industry operators from southern England. Rugby union, however, is not a sport played at professional level in the southern Basque Country, but bears a witness to a loyal following and important teams in Guipúzcoa and Vizcaya. De una parte del País Vasco a otra, la música, los pasos y los trajes cambian, pero todo lo única que revela el profundo amor de los vascos por la danza. Hay aproximadamente 400 danzas folclóricas vascas distintas, cada una con su propia historia y significado. Algunas danzas rituales más antiguas se realizan solo para eventos o circunstancias particulares e inicialmente fueron realizadas por bailarines masculinos solamente. Muchos incluyen el uso de palos y espadas que los bailarines golpean juntos a medida que avanzan a través de los movimientos de la danza. Las danzas sociales más recientes provienen de los primeros bailes de celebración, pero faltan en cualquier función sagrada. Están separados por diferencias de estilo y función. Algunos son más complejos, mientras que otros son más simples. Algunos son rituales, mientras que otros son entretenidos. Algunos sagrados y otros no. Algunos son bailes de grupo abiertos y otros cerrados. Basque art is usually very colorful and extravagant due to its nature of being extremely abstract. In fact, abstract sculptures are one of the main ways the Basque people display their love for art, incorporating nature as their main feature. One of the most famous Basque sculptures is The Combs of the Wind by Eduardo Chillida in San Sebastian. Paysage, which refers to a landscape art style derived from the French portion of the Basque Country, is also extremely popular due to its exquisite use of various hues. Gastronomy in the Basque Country takes on a whole new level, as it is simply not just about food to them. It is a ritual from an ancient tradition that goes back to a long way in history. It is also a way for a life for the Basque people who celebrate everything at the table. The enjoyment and delight in food is embodied in the soul, but the pleasure in sharing it is also engraved into the Basque character. These people find quality of life in the multiple variations of the food. It is an active gastronomy, highly present in anyone's visit to Euskadi. This is why food has become a temptation in this country. The quality of products from the sea, the mountains and valleys is so good and the cuisine so distinguished that it holds a gold medal all over the world. Fish and seafood dishes, whether grilled, baked, stewed, sautéed from the base of Basque cuisine. One of the rarest and most sought-after delicacies of the region are angulas, silvery white baby eels cooked in a small earthenware casserole and seasoned with garlic and chili peppers. Also must try is marmitaco, a stew of bonito and potatoes, tomatoes, garlic, and white wine. Also on the menu, anything with bacalao, rehydrated in stews, cooked magically by some of the best chefs in the country. And, or of course, another classic dish is pipirada, or piperade. This is just a concoction of sweet red or green peppers roasted and peeled, sautéed in olive oil, butter, or lard, along with other ingredients such as tomatoes, garlic, onion, and ham. Often beaten eggs are swirled into the sauce just before serving to make a kind of scrambled egg dish. The Basque Country is also home to excellent red wines from the Albesa Sea of the famous Rioja wine region. While beer is a popular staple in Spain, the Basques also produce excellent sparkling cider. Moving on to celebrations, Spain itself hosts some of the world's best festivals, and parts of France celebrate Basque culture during their festivals held throughout the year. Also known as Semana Grande, or Big Week, Aste Nagusia is held along the banks of the river Nervion. The festival is a celebration of Basque culture, with many Basque sports being played, including pelota and rural sports such as stone lifting and log chopping. Along with this, during the 9-day event, concerts happen in the streets, gastronomy competitions are held, bullfights and regattas take place, and there are nightly firework displays. Another very famous festival is Batalla del Vino, or the Battle of Wine, one of the world's largest wine fights taking place in the small town of Haro. It begins when everyone dresses in white and heads to a spot near the cave, or on a hill outside of town, and proceeds to spray each other with red wine from bottles, water guns, buckets, hoses, and any other manner of containers they can get their hands on. When the fight is over, music, drinking, dancing, and feasts commence in the town below. Now that we've talked about some of the cultural aspects of País Vasco, to truly experience the enchantment of the Basque coastline, you'll want to rent a car and explore the dramatic cliff-top landscape at your own pace. Take the scenic route from Bilbao to San Sebastian. This unforgettable road trip leads you through a string of traditional fishing villages, from Lequitío to Guetaria, which is, fun fact, the hometown of the famous fashion designer Cristobal Balenciaga. All of the towns along the stretch feature great pinto bars and quiet medieval streets that invite a leisurely wander. The Basque capital doesn't see as many international visitors as Bilbao or San Sebastian, which is all the more reason to spend a few days exploring the cobblestone streets and pinto bars of pretty Vitoria-Gasteiz. Highlights include the postcard-perfect historic center, considered the best preserved medieval center in Basque Country, and the 13th century Cathedral Santa Maria, a Gothic landmark perched at the summit of the old town. Another fun place to venture is to Mundaka. The waves at Mundaka on Basque Country's central coast have long been regarded as the best waves in all of Europe. The natural geography, a sandbar formed by an estuary, forms vast, hollow waves that some surfers have called the finest in the world. However, if you're not up for the challenge, you can even watch the spectacle from the town's harbor walls. Y con eso, nuestro viaje por País Vasco se ha completado. Espero que haya disfrutado de la experiencia y deseamos viajar aquí un día. Sé que lo hago. Gracias por escuchar mi presentación. Adiós.